Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Future of Money Virtual Summit. My name is Ryan Andrew Peterson. I'm the CMO of Conscious Marketer. We are co-producing this event. And on the line, I have Roger Bryan, our co-host and creator of the Digital Currency Index. He's going to be introducing John Bowens and David R. Allen from Equity Trust. But first, I just wanted to give you a quick rundown on the rest of the speakers that we have lined up for today. Right after this call at 4 p.m. Pacific, we're going to be joined by Barry Cohen, and he's got a great presentation called Crypto 2.0, and it's the new playbook for crypto millions. So you won't want to miss that. And then finishing us off tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific, we have Adrian Niculescu, and he is a global entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and internationally recognized LinkedIn author and trainer. So that's what we have in store for you tonight. We also have 2 more days of this live summit with 5 speakers a day. So 10 more speakers. On the last day, we have James Altucher, who's also been known as the crypto genius. So stay tuned, log on. Last thing, under this video, we have some share buttons. So for Facebook and Twitter and Google, if you click those, you'll be able to share this with your friends and family. It's been an incredible event. I actually didn't know what to expect with this event, but we've had speakers talking about just visionary concepts, tokenization of water and vital resources. We've had people talk about the decentralization of social media and empowering individuals to own their content online. It's just been incredible. So we hope to see you soon. And without further ado, Roger, why don't you take us away?
All right, before we get started, I need to share our fancy-dancy disclaimer with everyone. The content of this summit is provided for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide any specific tax, accounting, legal, or other investment advice or provide the basis for any financial or investment decisions. You should always consult with a licensed professional to seek advice specific to your situation. Boom, boom. Now, let's get going. Welcome back to the Future of Money Summit, the world's largest online cryptocurrency summit. I'm Roger Bryan. I'm the founder of the Digital Currency Index, and I'm a co-host and co-producer of this event. For our next presenters, we're going to be talking with Dave Allen and John Bowens from one of our sponsors for the event, Equity Trust. But before I get into their introduction and we start talking about some of the amazing things that they're doing, let me quickly mention that on this page, you'll see a button to get the lifetime upgrade to the cryptocurrency training kit. This is a special offer during the summit that gets you over 40 hours of talks, 25 plus speaker bonuses, and a program called the Cryptocurrency Mastery Program. The regular price is $497, and you can save $200 and secure that for $297, and you've only got 2 days left to be able to do that. It's the most comprehensive training package in the market, so take advantage of that special offer now. The link is below this video. Now, let me introduce Dave Allen and John Bowens. Dave Allen joined Equity Trust Company in May of 2017 as the Chief Operating Officer with responsibility for operations and client service functions. He brings nearly 20 years of financial industry experience to the role, most recently serving as Vice President of Goldman Sachs Asset Management, where he worked with institutional and retail clients on pooled investment vehicles. His expertise also includes back office operations and control functions. Mr. Allen's undergraduate degree is from Miami University of Ohio and received an MBA from Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management. John Bowens is the sales manager and national education specialist at Equity Trust. John provides educational resources to real estate and alternative assets investors. Through years of experience working with self-directed IRA investors and holding positions in contracting, operations, and building management, John has developed an educational curriculum that delves into the lesser-known aspects of IRA investment techniques. Additionally, John has authored columns in national publications and appears as guest speaker on radio talk shows and at real estate investing seminars and expos. Welcome, Dave and John.
Roger, thank you very much for the introduction. Great to be here. Just in the introduction, I've heard a lot of great things over the course of the summit. So thank you very much for allowing us to be a part of it. I've heard some great things. I know that John and I look forward to connecting with you and your audience over the course of the next hour or so, hopefully discussing a little bit about IRAs and how to use those from an alternative investment and specifically digital currency standpoint. Just a brief moment about Equity Trust. So Dave Allen here. I know we just got an introduction about individuals, but just about Equity Trust in general. we've been a self-directed IRA custodian for approximately 40 years. So been in this business for quite a long time and helping clients get access to alternative investments. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. We've got about 130,000 clients and about $25+ billion in assets under custody and administration. So what that does is allows us to offer these types of solutions at scale with lower costs to our clients. We're a passive custodian. John will talk a little bit about that, but great to be here. Very much look forward to a discussion on digital currency, investing and utilizing the IRAs there, and a platform that we've been developing for our customers to gain access to this asset class.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And Roger, thank you as well for inviting us on this call. And we had a great opportunity last week to present for session number 1. A lot of great feedback, a ton of great interest into what we do and how we do that. Not just our digital asset platform, but also talking about alternative investing as a technique or a strategy for investors. So we talked a little bit about real estate and lending money secured by real estate, investing in private equity, and we'll certainly dive a little bit further into that as well, keeping it most likely more centric to the digital asset platform. But I did want to make sure I pepper in that there's a number of different capabilities with the self-directed IRA. A little bit about Equity Trust as well, just piggybacking off of what Dave had mentioned. Equity Trust, we're a non-discretionary passive custodian. I think that's important for all of the callers to understand. And what that means to the individual investor is that they're making the decisions on where to invest and how to invest. So an investor may come to us and say, I want to buy real estate with my self-directed IRA. As long as they're doing things within the guidelines, within the Internal Revenue Code parameters, then we can permit them to make those investments. So we're agnostic, if you will, to what types of investments people are conducting in their self-directed IRA, 401k, or other tax-advantaged account. We're not giving legal or tax advice. And most importantly, essentially what we're talking about here is we're not serving as a fiduciary, a non-discretionary custodian. So what we're doing is we're saying, you as an investor, whomever that individual may be, you have the ability to use an IRA or 401k in a self-directed environment to purchase real estate, to invest in digital currency, or essentially invest in any type of alternative asset that they may feel they have a particular skill set in. So the idea is that individual taking a little bit more control over their self-directed retirement plans. But excited to be on the call, excited to share this message. There aren't a lot of forums out there for individuals like Dave and I to talk about self-directed IRAs and how powerful the use of a self-directed IRA can be investing in the alternative asset space. So we feel really fortunate to be on this call and just share our message and talk about how other clients are utilizing their self-directed retirement plans.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know this is a really hot topic in our space as people are beginning to realize the opportunities that come with some of the custodial services that you guys offer. So for the audience, let me give you kind of a big picture of what we're going to talk about for the next hour. We're going to be talking about digital currency investing with IRAs. Equity Trust and the team is going to reveal potential wealth building benefits of using tax advantaged retirement accounts to invest in digital currencies. They've also got a great gift for you at the end of the call, so you're going to want to stick around. So here's the things that we're going to dive into. Why investors are looking to invest in digital currency with IRAs and how it works. The potential tax advantages IRA provide investors. You really want to be listening for that one. Details about Equity Trust's new digital currency platform, including its simple to easy to use interface, the way that they do secure storage and fast settlement processing, which is done next day, which is unheard of at the institutional level, and low investment costs and minimums. And we talked a little bit about these concepts from a macro perspective last week, but today we're going to dive deep into the platform and we're going to talk about some of its use cases so that you as the viewer can get an opportunity to take advantage of this as this summit ends and you connect with Equity Trust. Does that sound good, guys?
Sounds great. Absolutely.
Perfect. So I asked you guys this question a week ago. I'm going to ask you it again to see if we get a different answer. If any light bulbs have gone off as you've been watching the summit, because we're asking everyone. We just want your perspective. How do you think crypto will influence the future of money in the world? Like, what do you guys see as Equity Trust or you as individuals?
I'll take that real quick, Roger. I think my my ideas on that have been probably crystallized over the course of the last week with some of your summit topics. Whether it is blockchain more broadly or digital currency individually, the capabilities for individual clients to take part in that disruption event is greater now than it ever has been. Having spent 20 years in this industry, the global nature of the product, digital currency, let's say, and then the interest in your summit from a global nature standpoint is just proof that this goes well beyond the borders, and that's part of why there is interest in that solution, right? And so I think what we're trying to do is help our customers and individuals in this marketplace get access to that disruption event.
And I'll jump in for just a moment, and I'll mention back to the way we're structured as a financial institution. We're not suggesting where someone should invest or pushing them in any direction, if you will. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're providing the services that the market demands. So about a year and a half ago, the phone calls started coming in. And David mentioned we have over 130,000 customers. We're nearly 20% of the market share. So no surprise that we have a lot of current clients and we have prospective investors that are calling in saying, hey, are you guys offering the capabilities to invest in digital assets? And at that time, we had no options available to them. And so, fast forward a year and a half, and, we're right on the brink of releasing that platform. And, as you mentioned in the introduction, Dave comes to the institution as our COO with that institutional focus and the institutional discipline of creating the digital asset platform. So, I certainly want to make sure I give credit to him for creating this model. And Dave is really going to dive a little bit more deeper into that as we progress throughout the call. But I think it's important to talk about how it's really the industry and it's the investors that drive what Equity Trust Company is doing and what we see as opportunity in the future. Because all we're doing is creating an extension of, and Dave will talk about this, an extension of our business. That's what the digital asset platform is. And for anyone that knows about Equity Trust Company, and Roger, I know you know a little bit about the history of the family and the Desich family and what they've done with this organization. But back in the mid 70s, when Mr. Desich created the company more as a brokerage firm, and then in the early 80s, he caught on this concept of, hey, why can't individuals use their IRAs and 401k rollovers and old pension rollovers and be able to buy and sell real estate or invest in a real estate private equity fund or purchase metals or any other type of alternative asset? And so that's how, the company evolved through the demand of what investors were looking for. They wanted to diversify into real estate. He created the model to do that. And then fast forward to 2001, we were domiciled as a non-depository trust company out of South Dakota, and we're now Equity Trust with over 130,000 customers nationwide. So, we're really looking at where the demand is, what people are looking for in terms of our products and services, and then we're doing our best to create the technology and the systems with the institutional discipline in order to provide those types of services.
Yeah, and for the audience, so I know my family has been investing through equity trusts, self-directed IRAs in the real estate space for nearly 2 decades. And I've always been fascinated by the things that could be done. And it was just kind of a random conversation that led us to learn about the amazing forward thinking that you guys have in the digital currency space, which also then led to my 4-month-old having a self-directed IRA. So I love what you guys are doing, and I want to dive into that now so the rest of the world can get an opportunity to take advantage of this. So I know we're here to talk about how investors can use self-directed tax advantage accounts for their investments in digital currency. Can you first explain to us what a self-directed IRA is and how it differs from a typical IRA?
Yeah, so to give the viewers the 100,000-foot overview, a self-directed IRA is just an industry term. You're not going to find anywhere in Publication 590, IRC 408, 401, et cetera, where it says self-directed. Some people refer to it as self-managed. So an IRA at any other financial institution is really no different functionally than the IRA here. We call the self-directed IRA because it indicates to the investor that they can buy and sell real estate. They can lend secured by real estate. They could lend unsecured if they wanted to. They could invest in precious metals, and of course, through our digital asset platform. So it's when we say self-directed, it's important for everyone to understand it's an industry term. Now, in terms of moving funds over from one IRA or 401k one of the common questions we get is, if I take my 401k from my old employer and I roll it over into a self-directed IRA, are there taxes and penalties? And then fast forward to the application of the investments that they're making. Am I going to pay taxes, or are there going to be penalties associated with me taking the money from the account and purchasing digital currency or investing in real estate? And the answer is absolutely not. It's no different than buying a stock or a mutual fund. When we buy a stock or a mutual fund, functionally, logistically, mechanically, cash leaves the account. In return for the cash is a stock certificate or an electronic certificate, if you will. When you're buying real estate, it's the same concept. Cash leaves the account. In return for the cash is a deed to the property. So Roger, your family, when they're buying real estate, and you probably have seen this before, when they're buying real estate with their IRA is actually holding a physical deed to the property, backed by that tangible asset, recorded with the county recorder. And then all cash flow from the rental or sale of that property goes directly back into the IRA. If done properly, there can be some very powerful and unique tax advantages associated with those returns on investment. So if those are rental properties, the rental income is tax-free. When the property is sold, there's no long-term capital gains tax. There's no recapture depreciation. So the value to the investor is, one, the ability to diversify outside of just stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Some people might want to go all into alternatives. Some people may want a mix of 60% equities and 40% alternatives. That's entirely up to them on how they want to structure their portfolio. And some people, this might not be for them. They may not have the willingness or the capability to go out and find alternative investment opportunities that could yield higher returns than what the stock market can yield. And like we said before, we're a passive custodian, so we can't make the claim or prognosticate that one is going to be able to achieve a higher rate of return by investing in alternatives. It ultimately is through the lens of the investor that they look through, as if they can purchase alternative assets and achieve a higher rate of return. So it's, again, important to just understand that self-directed is just an industry term. It just indicates that they have the ability to manage their own account.
And I guess one of the questions that comes, I think we might be covering this later. It's come up in conversations before. The thing that's most exciting to me about the entire space, not just equity trust, there's competitors, we'll talk about them in a little bit and the different things that you guys are doing so that they are just being left in the dust. But this is also a multi-generational thing. This is something that I can pass down to my daughter, which is the biggest concern that I have now. Is that correct?
That's correct. So some people refer to this as creating a legacy for their family. And Roger, let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, I have a Roth IRA. I do have a Roth account. So I have a Roth account, and my primary focus is not just yet. I'd like to look into the digital asset space once we have that up and running. But as of right now, my primary focus is using my Roth account to make loans to rehabbers, real estate investor rehabbers, people that are buying houses, they're fixing them up, they're selling them for a profit. I get an interest piece of that, and the loan that I make to their commercial real estate business is secured by the properties that they're purchasing. So my IRA is serving as the bank, or my retirement plan is serving as the bank. So the retirement plan makes the loan secured by the property. I have a first lien mortgage recorded with the county recorder. The interest income that returns to my retirement plan is tax-free. When I filed my 1040 last year, nowhere on my 1040 did it say, how much money did you make in your retirement plan? How much interest income did you make in your retirement plan? It's not a question that the IRS has for me because it's in my tax-privileged retirement plan. Now, that's my Roth account. Traditional IRA, Roth IRA. A traditional IRA is a tax-deductible account. Money goes in, I get a deduction. It grows tax exempt. When I take it out after 59 and a half, which is the qualified retirement age in the United States, I have to pay taxes. My Roth account, when I put money in, it's after tax. So I'm getting the taxes out of the way on the seed so I don't have to pay it on the proverbial crop after 59 and a half. Now, to address your question, Roger, that Roth account, because it's after tax contributions, it grows tax-free. After 59 and a half, when I start taking money out of that account, it is never added to my ordinary income. As long as I do things properly within the IRS guidelines, it is never added to my ordinary income, which means it's not going to impact my Social Security income tax. It's not going to impact my overall tax basis. Now, fast forward, let's say 10 years from now, I pass away, I'm under the age of 59 and a half still. My Roth account is left to my beneficiaries and they don't pay a single dime in tax. It's tax-free to them. Fast forward to 65 years old, I pass away, leave it to my beneficiaries, tax-free. Fast forward to 90, I pass it on to my grandchildren. I skip a generation. So I skip a generation. The grandchildren are in their 30s. They have, let's say, as of, for instance, a $500,000 in a Roth account, and they have 3 income-producing duplexes in there. And the net income per month, let's say, is $10,000. After all operating expenses, you got $10,000 coming in. That's $10,000 in tax-free cash flow every single month. That's what a Roth account can achieve for an investor. Again, if things are done properly. There's actually a really great book I'll mention, Roger. It's called The Power of Zeros, written by David McKnight. And it talks a lot about the Roth account. I'll mention another book at the end of the call here that we wrote. But for callers, if they're interested, it's another great piece of literature for individuals to understand more about how traditional IRAs work versus Roth IRAs.
Yeah, there's some fundamental belief in the industry that part of what's created this sideways movement in the digital currency space, which is my personal opinion in the opinion of Digital Currency Index, not the opinion of Equity Trust, is that there was huge tax ramifications that were unplanned for in the first quarter in the United States that kind of created some downward momentum in the industry that we haven't really come out of yet. And I'm not going to ask your guys' opinion on that because I know you guys can't give one. But I know there's people sitting there right now who have light bulbs going off in their head, or they're banging their head against their desk, realizing that they have this capital sitting in a Roth IRA that they could be using in real estate, mortgage notes, rehabbing. You didn't mention it, but I believe also precious metals. But now really what we're here to talk about is now digital currency is allowed. How does that work?
Yeah, so to kind of break it down for you, the 100,000-foot view, and I'm going to let Dave, because he's really the mastermind, if you will, behind the digital asset platform, the partnerships that we've built, the technology components, et cetera. But ultimately, the process is no different than our clients buying real estate or lending money, rehabbing, investing in precious metals. Functionally, it's the same process. What Dave ultimately did is he said, okay, let's build the technology and put it in the same box that we have here. And so for callers to understand the process, it's a 4-step process, no matter what you're doing. So for instance, let's say you're going to buy a property with your IRA, a rent home, and you're going to buy it for $75,000. You're going to put 10 into it, and you're going to rent it out for $1,000 a month net. So the first step of the process is you have to open and fund a self-directed IRA. We have a team here of individuals that specializes in working with individual investors to help them efficiently and seamlessly transfer their funds over from point A to point B. So we'll take care of that for investors that are interested. But step 1, they have to have the account open and funded. That's important because in moving money from one financial institution to another, it can take up to 3 to 4 weeks. Most financial institutions aren't willing to give up the money overnight. So investors need to start that process well in advance. So step 1, open and fund the account. Step 2, they direct their investment. We have an online technology platform that allows investors to simply go online, start their investment process, document, upload all their supporting documents, and then we'll wire transfer the funds out to the title company or wherever the funds need to go. So in my hypothetical example, investor A moves over their 401k into a self-directed traditional IRA. They go online, they send in a copy of their purchase contract and the name of their IRA. And then from there, we'll send a wire transfer in the amount of $75,000 to the title company to close on the property. Now you have a recorded deed. That deed doesn't say Jim Smith. It says Equity Trust Company Custodian, FBO is in for benefit of Jim Smith's Roth IRA or IRA. And now from there, step 3 is manage the investment. So they would log online to their account to manage their investments. So if they have multiple properties or just one property, in this example, a $75,000 purchase, $10,000 in rehab, all the expenses are paid for from the IRA. So the online system is going to allow the investor to process bill payments, checks mailed out, or direct deposits. We're fully ACH capable. And then step 4, of course, is the return on investment and monitoring the performance of the investment. So as the $1,000 in net income comes in every month, that check is made payable to the IRA and deposited accordingly. So now you have a property in the account producing income, tax advantaged into the account. Going forward, let's say that property sells, it has an ARV of a 140, it sells in 2 years from now for 145. all of that profits returned to the IRA. No long-term capital gains tax, no recaptured depreciation, because all of the income is in the tax-exempt retirement plan. So that's the four-step process for an investor to get started. That's an example of buying real estate, but the same concept can be applied to making a loan secured by real estate, whether it's a short-term loan or long-term loan. Same concept or same system can be applied to investing in metals. And then, of course, the digital asset platform, which Dave will describe in a little bit more in detail.
And one of the things that we think about when we're doing, like, it's been a main topic of this summit, is the idea of bringing solutions and services to Main Street investors to introduce them to the digital currency space and to bring greater adoption to both blockchain investing and digital currency investing. Now, you guys are a large organization with about $25 billion under management and 120,000 customers. I would believe that before you guys would invest in building out the infrastructure that you've invested in, there had to be some type of demand for this type of product. So were your customers asking for this before you went out and built it?
Yeah, great question, Roger. There's obviously that precursor to going out and building the platform, both from an interest perspective as well as what types of capabilities clients are looking for in that platform. So let me start by saying, yeah, absolutely. The clients have been vocal, whether it's clients, whether it's prospects. As John mentioned, this has been well over a year that folks have been interested in some type of solution to get access to it. And it's coming from two different parts of the market. The retail part of the market, which are our end clients trying to get access for their own particular accounts, as well as the institutional part of the market, which it could be an RIA, it could be a precious metals dealer, an advisor, somebody who's looking to get access for their client to this asset class. So like I said, those are the two different parts of the market that are trying to get access and have been very vocal in trying to do so. We've really seen this as part of an extension of our core business. Like I said at the top of the summit here, we've been doing this, helping clients get access to alternative investments for 40 plus years, whether it's real estate, precious metals. John's gone through a number of different examples. This is one additional example of how we can provide our clients ability to get access to an alternative asset class, right? So which is an extension of the core business. From my perspective, then it becomes, how do we exercise that leadership position in the market to be able to deliver a platform that is geared towards our end client, who we've listened to try to provide capabilities that they're looking for, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about the platform. I think there's some good discussion there. We are weeks away from getting that launched, but we are in those final stages and welcome phone calls and welcome interest in doing so and getting on board that platform. Like I said at the top, this is our way of allowing clients to really invest in those asset classes using the qualified funds, and there's been a significant amount of interest in doing so.
Yeah. And I'll say too, it's been great because we've had a lot of great feedback from prospective investors. We've had investors that have been contacting us and they've said, hey, yeah, put me on the list. When you guys have the platform up and running, give me a call. I'm interested in understanding more about your solution. So we've sort of unveiled some components of the actual system just to get a flavor of what people are looking at and what they want and get a temperature read. And we have a number of investors that are sort of on that waiting list saying, okay, give me a call. I want to learn more about it once it's up and running. So we've got a ton of great feedback and we welcome that. Give us a call directly and we'd love to chat about what your interests are and how we could service those interests.
Now, I know there's other IRAs out there that offer investing in digital currency. And when my partner and I were out talking with most of them and looking for the one that we really wanted to get behind to recommend to our summit members, our students, we saw equity as just in a different world from everyone else. Can you tell the audience what's different about the equity solution?
Yeah. So really, it comes down to listening to that client base, quite frankly, Roger. There are probably three themes that we heard most from a lot of our conversations. And I think you alluded to it at the beginning of the call, but there were three things that really, when it came down to it, our clients were looking for. The first was variety. And a lot of the platforms might be individual tokens or individual coins, and they can provide access to one. And really, the idea behind the Equity Trust digital asset platform is providing a variety. Your Bitcoin, Ethereum, et cetera, a number of 6 different coins that folks can invest in using their IRA fund. So the first was variety, making sure we provided that variety to the clients. The second was ease of engagement. We heard a lot of challenges individuals had to getting access to it. So the second item was ease of engagement. From the beginning of that account opening process, we've launched earlier this year a way for clients to open their accounts, e-sign, all through our website. So right from the beginning, everything has been an automated process. So ease of engagement, ease of setting up that account, ease of transferring those assets into the account. The second piece is, and it relates to the digital currency solution itself, is there are no keys. So a lot of the challenges, a lot of the risk associated with digital currency are those private keys. And so what we've done is we've developed a platform so that individuals can purchase those coins and not have to worry about holding onto the key, or not worried about that storage for those keys after the purchase. The storage is integrated to the platform. So once somebody purchases those coins, it's an integrated solution. It goes right into cold storage. That being the third piece of the themes that we heard was the speed of settlement. Folks wanted a fast process, so right from the account opening all the way through the trade, right? So that speed of settlement, it's a T+1. So what that means is, just like any other equity product out there, from a T+1 standpoint, if you buy today, your asset is then settled into your account tomorrow. If you sell today, those proceeds from the sale are deposited into your account tomorrow. What that speed of settlement cycle does is it allows clients for that reinvestment risk. So the longer it takes you to get the cash, you have reinvestment risk. So you have your missed opportunity somewhere else. So if I want to reallocate into another asset class, I need to wait 5, 6 more business days in other platforms. Whereas here, it's a T+1 settlement, just like many of other platform or equity products. Again, like I said, sell it today, you get that price today, and then the cash, the deposit happens into your account tomorrow. Those are the three big themes that I think we heard. What underpins that, and what's most exciting from my perspective, is the scale that Equity Trust offers. Like I said up the top of the program, 40 plus years of alternative investment and providing clients access to those asset classes. So that allows us to scale the product and the ability to offer it to a lot of different individuals at a lower cost. So no transfer in fees. We have a much lower minimum, $10,000, than a lot of other platforms out there. And so again, Equity's scale allows us to do that for lower minimums and a lower cost.
I want to touch on one of the things that I want to ask a question about one of the things that you touched on, because the tax advantages that you've mentioned before are huge. But you kind of mentioned security and some of the security problems that you solved, which was one of the things that really caught the attention of our team. How does your solution address security in a little bit more detail? Because I really want the audience to understand what you guys have come up with, because it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'll talk about it in two different ways. The first is removing risk from the equation. So when I think about security, I think about a good, solid process that avoids the risk in and of itself. So process-oriented risk mitigation. And I'll go through a number of different things that I think highlight what you're talking about. So I mentioned no keys, right, in the previous conversation. So the storage rather is totally integrated within the platform. There are no keys. Nobody gets a token. Nobody gets a key fob, etc. to handle. It is a totally integrated cold storage solution. And I'll talk a little bit about that cold storage solution in a little bit more detail later. Speed of account opening. Again, the process of avoiding risk. Two-factor authentication, both to get into the platform as well as to do your trading. So to make sure that nobody is hacking into a system that's two-factor authentication to get in. Every 30 seconds, the prices are refreshing themselves. So whether the market's going up or down, you are ensuring, or you're getting the most accurate pricing available. So every 30 seconds, those prices are refreshing themselves. We've also limited the activity in the platform to buys and sells. And what that does is, if we close the circuit, if we don't allow that those coins to go anywhere else, any other public addresses. You can only buy and sell. What that does is it closes the circuit. So any cash that's leaving your account is going to buy that coin. Any sale of that coin is going back into the account. Again, closing that circuit, building a process-oriented control around it reduces the risk. The other item that I'll mention to clients is that on a daily basis, we are going out to the third-party explorers to make sure everything is balanced and make sure that everything in cold storage is matching our books and records. That's one of the primary functions that Equity Trust has, is to make sure that the books and records, the record keeping of that is accurate. So again, on a daily basis, we're going out there to make sure that the third-party explorers are matching our books and records. So that just talks about the process itself.
Yeah, and there's something really important in that. For the veterans that are in the space, we've learned to deal with the fact, like inside of our business, we have over 400 wallets that we have to keep track of in order to do everything that we do. What I really like is the fact that when net new investors are coming in and they're coming into a platform like yours, they're never going to have to know the craziness that most of us had to deal with to participate in this industry circa 2011, 12, 13, and coming into today. So that's awesome. Now, I wanted to get clarity on one thing. You mentioned coins and you said a couple names. Your platform is going to be offering Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ripple, Ethereum, and Ethereum Classic out of the gate. Is that correct?
You're absolutely right, Roger. Absolutely.
And I think that's a competitive advantage because most of the other IRA platforms typically either only offer Bitcoin or they're a completely different style of platform that has no custodial aspect to it at all.
Yep. You're absolutely right. That was one of the first themes that we saw was the variety.
Yeah,
let me go back to the security question again. There's the second piece of that. So we talked about the closed circuit, right? The second piece of that is the physical and cybersecurity that you put around the digital assets, right? So what we've done is we've partnered with firms that are leaders in this space, and they specialize in this space, and that's all they do is the cold storage piece. These are intelligence-grade individuals. They are working through and, quite frankly, pioneering those industry best practices and standards that are out there. When we think about cold storage, so everything that comes through the platform ends up in cold storage. Everything goes to the platform, ends up in cold storage. One of the things we've done around that cold storage vault is it is fully redundant. So you've heard a lot about nuclear bunkers being used, and we are employing nuclear bunkers across the globe in order to secure these assets. Fully redundant. There is a multi-sig process on the back end of any redemption. So any redemption that comes out of your account. In the back end, so to your point about keeping a lot of these procedures within Equity and not exposing them, let's say, to the end client to go through themselves, Equity goes through their multi-signature process, both with us as well as this cold storage vendor, our third-party vendor that we use for cold storage. There are multiple individuals within Equity Trust, and there are multiple individuals within that cold storage vendor that need to initiate and approve any redemption from our clients' accounts. And again, because it's a closed circuit, any redemption from a cash perspective is then going right back into the client's account. One other point about that multi-signature process on the redemption side, it also includes controls like facial recognition, right? So over and above any sort of two-factor authentication, there's actually a facial recognition component to make sure that the individuals are approved for that redemption, right? So it goes through a number of, let's say, controls that are just not available to the broader market around that cold storage. Next, and I'll say the last piece around cybersecurity that I want to mention on this part of the call is we've taken cold storage to that next level, and we've really kind of looked at it from a cryo storage standpoint. There is cold storage that we will use for, let's say, daily transactions, but there's also a need to make sure that any sort of long-term storage of that coin, that buy and hold strategy, then takes into account a cryo storage, long-term storage. And what that does is it employs really some proprietary encryption for further protection, right? So we've kind of delineated between cold storage and then that cryo storage piece as well. So that encompasses both the physical closed circuit as well as the physical and cybersecurity that I think goes along with this platform.
And I know, like, for a lot of the people out there that are watching that have heard us from our educational talks about proper security and proper storage, it's basically taking everything that we've ever told you to do and multiplying it by a square, not even just by an additional times two, which is really important. I come from a military background. I come from a line of work where security and storage of these types of assets and other assets is important. And Equity Trust has found a way to take it up a level so that if you had no idea what they just said, you have to understand that they're doing everything in their power to make it as secure as possible, and then adding a layer on top of that to make it that much more secure, which I think is brilliant. Now, I want to ask you, what are the key takeaways people should have about IRA investing in digital currencies?
Yeah, I'll take that one. I think the first critical piece to what we're talking about here, and to piggyback a little bit off of what Dave had just mentioned, that there's a lot that in what you had said, Roger, that there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of steps in the process. Equity Trust Company has created the supply chain, if you will, in order for people to seamlessly invest. And that's because a self-directed IRA, or any IRA in general, requires a custodian. And I think that's very, very important for all of our callers to understand, is when you have an IRA or a tax qualified retirement plan, by law, you have to have a custodian. It's in the federal statute. So you have to have an IRS approved custodian. And that's typically defined as a institution that is a bank, federally chartered savings and loan institution, credit union, or other IRS approved entity. So with those custodial functions, there's different regulatory guidelines that we have to follow. And why is that? And a lot of people will call up into our call center and they'll say, hey, I don't want to have a custodian. Why do I need to have a custodian? Well, we have to understand and appreciate as Americans and as investors who have retirement plans here in the United States, that an IRA has these very unique tax privileges. And so with these unique tax privileges comes certain levels of responsibility that we have to take as an investor. We can't self-deal. We can't do things that would benefit us in the here and now. This is for our retirement. So I think that's, the first thing to mention. It's very important for investors to understand why there are these steps involved, and why you have a custodian, and why you need to partner with the right financial institution that can deliver the very best product for the investor.
From my perspective, Roger, I would just say from the platform standpoint, it's the combination of both the ease of use that we've heard from the clients and the security piece that you've underscored earlier.
Now, in a second, I want to talk about the bonus skip you're going to give everyone, but how can people get in touch with you guys if they're interested in getting added to your wait list for the platform or learning more about the services that Equity Trust provides?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can certainly follow the link here in the control module. That link will get them to the book, which we'll talk about in just a second. But also, callers are welcome, and our call center is open until 6 o'clock Eastern and then beyond, given the volume of phone calls. I know there are a lot of callers on this evening or this afternoon, so folks are more than welcome to give us a call directly. The phone number is in the link, but for those that are writing and taking notes, it's 855-652-2587. Again, that's 855-652-2587. So folks are, more than welcome to inquire with us through the link, downloading the book, or they can call us directly. We'd be happy to answer any questions that they have. Obviously the platform isn't up and running where they can open an account, fund it, and move forward. But we can certainly have discussions about some of the preliminary components. Again, it's almost there across the finish line, so we could certainly have some pretty in-depth conversations about that. And the last thing I'll say about getting more information is take advantage of the hundreds of case studies that we have here at Equity Trust. So we talked about at the beginning, we can't give advice, we can't provide recommendations, etc. But what we can do is talk about stories like I told earlier on in the call, telling a little bit about how I've invested with my self-directed Roth. And we have hundreds of clients that have shared their stories. In fact, in 2017, we had an investor who made just over $130,000 tax advantaged in 2017. And he was named our 2017 Investor of the Year. So every year we have an Investor of the Year. His name is Brian from Tennessee. He'll be up in August, right across from our headquarters in Westlake, Ohio, where we're hosting a 2-day summit. It's our wealth building summit, and he's going to be telling this story. And he did 2 deals, 2 real estate transactions in 2017. The first transaction, he used 3 of his children's retirement plans. So I know, Roger, you had mentioned setting up a retirement plan for your 4-year-old. Congratulations.
4-month-old.
4-month-old. Wow.
Yes.
So you got some earned income for a 4-month-old and able to start a retirement plan. That's great. And so this investor, Brian, he has 3 children. They each have a retirement plan. He bought a vacant lot for $8,000 using all 3 retirement plans. And that's one of the things our folks, when you call in, can talk about is, hey, there are concepts that individuals are exploring where they're partnering multiple retirement plans together. I've partnered my traditional and Roth together to make a loan to a rehabber. Now I have tax deferred and tax-free income coming in. So this gentleman, Brian, has 3 IRAs for his children. He bought a property for $8,000, and in less than 60 days, he sold it for $60,000 to a real estate developer that was going to build a rent house on that lot. So he made $52,000 between 3 retirement plans. 50% went into the oldest child's account, 25 into child B, 25 into child C. Then later that year, he bought 2 lots that were adjacent to one another. One of them had a dilapidated property that had to get ripped down, and he bought it for $120,000 using his wife's Roth IRA, his Roth IRA, and his 3 children's retirement plans. So he had 5 accounts involved in this transaction. Sold the property to a real estate developer for $200,000, netted $80,000 tax advantage. So between transaction 1 and transaction 2, he made $130,000. We named him the 2017 Investor of the Year. That's just one example of many examples that we can provide. So I'd encourage folks to, get plugged in. As far as our book is concerned, that was a book that we're giving to all callers. They can follow the link. It was a book written by our company founder, Dick Desich. I had an opportunity as well to contribute to the book. There are tons of case studies in there. There are links to different resources online. And there's an entire chapter on rules and regulations. So if you want to know a little bit more about, what you can and cannot do, you're going to get a little bit of a flavor of that. So I'd encourage, everyone to take advantage of the free book download. It sells on Amazon for, I want to say, around $13 to $14. But that's our gift to all of our callers on the call this afternoon. Or again, they're more than welcome to call in. So call in, pick our brain. We're happy to answer any questions that folks have, and just talk about how to use a self-directed IRA and how to make money. We're not here to give advice or serve as legal counsel or one's financial advisor, but we can certainly share others' stories and how one might be able to relate to that.
And you know what? I'm gonna close out with one question here in a second. Before I do that, I want to remind everyone that you can own this entire training summit through our cryptocurrency training kit. This gets you downloadable access to the videos, audios, transcripts, and bonus gifts of the 35 plus speakers, just like this session, all for only $297. You will also get a special bonus training called the Crypto Mastery Program that we are producing right now. After the summit, the price of this training will go up to $497. So if you'd like to own the materials and refer back to them at your convenience, now is the time. Now, Dave and John, you guys have been great. I know this is our second session together, which is awesome. It's given us a chance to dive in deeper. Your free ebook is called Self-Directed IRAs, Building Retirement Wealth Through Alternative Investing. You just told us a little bit about that book. I highly recommend that everybody grab a copy of it. Our team will be making sure that that link is below this video. Whether or not you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, our website, you're getting a link off Twitter, you'll be able to get access to this book. So is there one closing thought that you would like to leave with people about the idea of self-directed IRAs, or specifically about their ability to invest in digital currencies through your self-directed IRA platform?
Sure, Roger. I'll leave folks with just a quick comment on equity trust, the 40 years of experience and extension of what we do today into the digital currency space, and then combining that with what I mentioned earlier about the ease of doing business, plus the secure storage aspect of things. I think that's most important from my standpoint.
Yeah, and I'll leave folks with, take the time to understand what a self-directed IRA, what retirement account investing in a self-directed or self-managed environment can really mean to you. There are a lot of investors that rely on set it and forget it, passive investments only in the traditional markets. And I'm not saying that that's the wrong approach. What I'm saying is if an investor has a unique capability, the intellect to invest in real estate or other alternative assets, and they feel strongly and confidently that they can drive a better yield, a better rate of return than what they're making now, take a look at how these opportunities can work for them or work for you, and ultimately get educated on how it works. There's not a lot of information out there on self-directed IRAs, but we do have information to share, and there's YouTube videos as well that folks can take advantage of. So, my closing comment is, just start the education process and make a decision on, is it a right fit for you or not?
Awesome. For those of you watching at home, we've got some great sessions coming up. Tomorrow, 2 fun ones that you're not going to want to miss. If you've seen Adrienne interview some of the biggest names, her and I interviewed Tim Draper together. She had an amazing interview with John McAfee yesterday. John Tarr, our co-host and my partner, is going to be interviewing Adrienne tomorrow morning. We're going to close out tomorrow with Ryan Moran, a Cleveland boy, founder of capitalism.com, a wicked smart, just an amazing entrepreneur, has done some amazing deals. And then we're going to close out on Thursday with James Altucher, definitely considered the crypto mad genius. I think he's got the Einstein hair going on. And we're going to end with Roger Ver, the founder of Bitcoin Cash. So we've got some more amazing sessions coming for you over the next 48 hours. So Dave and John, I appreciate you guys. I'm sure I'll be seeing you guys up at Equity Trust. I know I'll be seeing you at the summit that you guys are having in a few weeks. So I appreciate you guys, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.